Sometimes God's will carry you through roads you don't want to ride on, roads you didn't pick, roads you didn't foresee, roads you didn't design, and frankly, roads you don't like. But it's still God's will.
Because God will get you exactly where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there. And none of hellhounds barking, demons, warring, witches can stop your ship of destiny of landing exactly where it's supposed to land, just in the nick of time.
And I'm going to give you a few ways that Jesus models prayer and the benefits of prayer. Peace in the storm is a result of communion with God. This is what prayer does for you. Braces you against external extremities so that you're not always reacting to what you see going on around you. When you have a lifestyle of prayer, you don't act like the crowd. Everybody's screaming and running and jumping off the boat. But when you've been talking to God before the storm, you have peace in the storm. Is there anybody in here that's had unexplainable peace? You don't even know. It's not even your character. It's not even your nature. That comes from having a consistent prayer life, not a church prayer life. This is the kind of prayer where you drive down the road and say, Jesus, I don't know what we're going to do about this, but I'm trusting you about that. And if you don't want me to do this, I need you to do this. The kind of prayer that is not eloquent. It is just you crying out, help! When you're in a fight with the devil, you don't have time to be eloquent. We don't need an exercise in your vocabulary. We don't need you to tune up. And the benefits of prayer is demonstrated in the storm. How you react to the storm determines how far you're going to go. You can't be a leader if you freak out. You got to keep a calm head in a crisis. I might freak out after the crisis, but in the middle of the crisis, I'm going to stand up to this. I was raised to box like that. I was raised to fight like that. If you started getting hysterical, my mother would slap you. She said, you may not have the peace of God, but you're going to have the peace of odor because I'm going to knock you out. You hold it together. You hold it together. Discipline over your emotions. Discipline. We have a generation, and I'm talking about all of us, all ages that are alive in this era of undisciplined people who say whatever they think, however they think, whenever they want to. You don't have no prayer life. You talk to people when you ought to be talking to God. If you start talking to God, it'll change how you talk to people. I want to talk to some people who have a demon that's out of control in your life and you cannot control it. There are some things you have to bring directly to Jesus. You don't need an appointment with the bishop. You don't need an appointment with a counselor. Demons you got to take to Jesus. Jesus is already present, but you're tired of going through the struggle and the fight and the warfare. Jesus says, bring him to me. No failure makes you a failure unless you will not examine what did I do wrong. If you learn from it, it can't be a failure. Jesus said, you didn't do anything wrong. It's what you didn't do. This kind cometh out by much submission to the process. Through prayer, he teaches him that when it gets hard to submit to the process, and it often does, and it even did for Jesus. So stop trying to sell me this bill that everything is easy for you. If it got hard for Jesus, I know it got hard for you, so shut up. It got hard for Jesus. Sometimes God's will carry you through roads you don't want to ride on, roads you didn't pick, roads you didn't foresee, roads you didn't design, and frankly, roads you don't like. But it's still God's will.